Well, that was a disaster, wasn't it? 4 blinking goals. Oh, sorry, wrong video. I'm Alistair McIntosh. Welcome to First Things First. And let's think about the only topic we can possibly have for consideration this week, the rent ceiling. Hardly a surprise, but that 5% ceiling or limit on rent increases for next year, my goodness me, that does give us pause for thought, doesn't it? It doesn't please anyone. Tenants won't like a 5% rent increase. Many would say, come on, we're facing skyrocketing bills right, left and centre. What about a rent freeze? Landlords, well, tearing their hair out. A 5% increase sounds a lot, but it is dwarfed by the increases they're having to pay for materials, for staff and everything else. And as you walk around estates, as I do quite a lot at the moment, you see plenty of scope for investment. We need to paint this, we need to place the doors there, we need to do the roofs there, and that's before we get on to regeneration and decarbonisation. So the financial ability of landlords to do what they need to do is really constrained quite dramatically by that rent ceiling. You then turn to the regulator, and they're facing two ways. On the one hand, they must enforce the rent standard, including the ceiling. On the other hand, all their new staff must make sure our consumer services to tenants are tip-top. So they're facing two ways, stretched, a very, very difficult situation. And perhaps angriest of all will be the shared owners. They don't get the rent ceiling. In fact, they will get an increase based on the retail price index. It's running around about 12% at the moment. The government has gone to court to dispense with RPI on pensions, and still we use it for the shared ownership rent formula at the same time as they are facing increased mortgage costs, and according to HSBC, house prices are falling. The shared owners truly are facing the perfect storm. So what do we do about this? Can landlords cut back and put works off as they did when they faced the rent freeze a couple of years ago? I would suggest that's very high risk. We're in the eye of the storm on social media. We've had a parliamentary committee very critical of our activities. We cannot pull back. We cannot spend dramatically less on the services that we provide to our residents. So I think we're between a rock and a hard place on making savings. Now we could merge. That has been a traditional route. Problem with that is it's not smooth. Some of the larger landlords, for obvious reasons, because they rescued some underperformers, are facing some very, very serious difficulties. And then, of course, once you are huge, what action can a regulator really take against you? They can hardly merge you in with someone else, can they? So when we're consolidating risk, my goodness me, we might be saving money, but we're adding to problems down the line. And as I say, Clive Bett's committee wanted more local services. These savings might result in fewer local services. There is, however, a glimmer of hope. The founder of OVO, the energy company, has said we've actually got to be independent in the UK of other countries in terms of our energy, and obviously we've got to get costs down to make heating your home affordable. And what he says is government should stop chasing the big glamorous initiatives like nuclear power stations and instead spend money insulating and improving the energy efficiency of the homes we already have. Sounds great, but it comes with a big price ticket. The NHF last year with Savills estimated the cost of decarbonising the housing association properties in England alone at 36 billion, which, to put it in context, is roughly half what we spent on furlough. So there is an enormous bill to be paid, but there are trade-offs, aren't there? We'll create lots of jobs, will bring bills down and we won't be dependent on hostile countries and hostile markets for our energy. So it's not an idea to be dismissed. Hopefully government will look at it and take it seriously and work out the costs and benefits. As I say, that's the only glimmer of hope. My personal fuel bill is about to fall dramatically, as I will not be watching any football on television or taking any phone calls from people anytime soon. I just want to forget the football at the weekend. Thanks for your attention, and I hope to see you when Rangers finally win a match.